Hey everybody, welcome back to In Bed with a Millennial. I'm the Millennial, Javeda Bay, and this is my bed. And today I'm talking about a really fun topic. How to introduce sex toys to your relationship. Because there are some do's and don'ts when it comes to actually pulling out sex toys in the middle of grown-up playtime. And it's not talked about enough, and it can be really awkward. So let's make it not awkward, shall we? We shall. First things first, you know how I'm Finding Nemo, Bruce is like having the meeting with the other sharks and they're like, fish are friends, not food. Well, sex toys are friends, not foe. There is no need to be anxious or worried or like jealous of sex toys in a relationship because they are there to support you, back you up, be your homies. They are not there to steal your partner or like steal your thunder or like take over the show. They are aides. They are background singers. They are there to enhance the environment that y'all have together. They are not there to, like, take over the whole show. You're actually in control of them. So they are not going to take over the whole show. So, first things first, sex toys don't need to be intimidated or jealous of them because they're your ride or dies. And usually they'll die because most people don't charge them as regularly as they should. But they're your ride or dies and they're there to help. So, how do you get your ride or die to become best friends with your bae? Let me help you out. The first things first is you gotta start with the conversation. Do not think that the best way to introduce your partner to your toys is in the midst of grown up fun time. It's not. It is not the way. Don't do it. Please do not pull out a Hitachi wand or anything in the middle of grown up playtime without having had a conversation. Because that right there, that can kill a mood real fast. Especially if it is the first time they have ever even like had any inkling that you got your own stash or that the stash is even there. Don't do it. So start off with a conversation beforehand, well beforehand. And as I have recommended in a lot of different scenarios, have the conversation not in the bedroom because it can get tense and like you don't want to create any bad vibes or negative energy in the space where y'all are later going to try and like have some fun together. So do it somewhere else. Maybe out in the living room, maybe like in the car on your way home from dinner, wherever. Just don't start the conversation in the bedroom. And when you do start the conversation, obviously lead with I think it'd be fun if we introduced X, Y, and Z things into our playtime to add a little something extra to the fun. Do not start off with something like, you need to use a sex toy on me because blah, blah, blah. Don't attack. It's never a good idea to attack in any type of conversation, but definitely not one where you want something added to your sexual activity. So start off by saying, hey, I'm interested in this. Bring that to the table, but start off with a conversation. Never just introduce a toy before a conversation is had. Okay? And then once you've had that conversation, you're like, all right, cool, we're going to do this. Start with the basics. Please do not run and get the most intimidating toy you own. Pretty please, because that can be overwhelming, especially if someone does not already use sex toys or they don't have their own like knowledge or collection. Going and getting your like most intimidating, like highest setting, like OMG, like Fast and the Furious version of a sex toy, like, ooh, don't do that. Start off with something easy. Be like, oh cool, well here's this bullet vibrator, or here's this like smaller, less intrusive toy that I think would be great for, I don't know, clitoral stimulation, perineum stimulation, whatever you want to do, nipple stimulation, however you want to use the toy, but start on the lower end of things and work your way up. Do not think that everyone is walking in at advanced setting mode in this two-player game because they're not. We got to start at the basics. We are teaching them star, triangle, square, circle. Work your way up. Don't think that everyone came in the game with the cheat codes because they did not. Another great option is by actually showing your partner how you like to use the toys on yourself before you actually use it together. So if you're like, hey babe, I really think it'd be a lot of fun if we started using cock rings during sex. Show them like visually how the cock ring could be placed to offer you stimulation so that way they get a better idea of like what positions they think they might actually enjoy using it in and things of that nature. Show and tell. This is a show and tell moment. Like we all love those days in grade school where it was like bring in your favorite item, talk about it, yada yada yada. We're doing it now in the grown-up form. You're showing and telling why you love this toy, the ways that you think it'll be like so great for y'all to use it together, all that jazz. So do a show and tell moment. But definitely make sure that you offer some type of direction. Even if you don't do a full on show and tell, offer them something because they may not know, like, oh, cool, this is a great way to use this toy, I guess. Also, in last week's episode, we talked about self exploration. You showing them, telling them beforehand how you like a toy to be used is really great because you understand your body. You know how the stimulation works to be super amazing for you. So, definitely self explore and then tell them how you actually like to use that toy so they can best use it on you. And then remember to always be communicative when you are using the toy. If in the midst you're like, hey, I need you to move that a little bit more, like actually can you go a little deeper or like push up a little harder, be communicative. Actually say what you want to say. Don't just assume that your partner is going to have all the answers, be a mind reader, and know exactly what you're thinking when the toys are being used. Because it is a learning experience. Their body's not your body. They may have not used that toy before. There are so many different learning curves that need to be accounted for. And the only way you learn is by asking questions and giving answers and things of that nature. So you got to communicate. Because unless it's Charles Xavier or Jean Grey, they can't read your mind. And now that we know how to introduce it, like what are some ways that you can go about it to bring sex toys into the relationship together instead of just like bringing in like a collection that you already had and then kind of feeling like excluded from the fun of picking them out? Maybe make a date night, y'all going to a sex shop together and buying a sex toy together. There's a lot of benefits to that. First one, y'all can both ask questions to people in the store to figure out creative ways to use that toy. Also, you can get the full suite of whatever you need. If you're like, oh, well, I like this toy, we're also running low on lube, like, you can just build out the whole night at a sex shop, make it a whole event, get all fully stocked up to make sure that that playtime is a whole new level of okay? But also shopping for toys together makes it so that way you guys can express your concerns in the moment as you're seeing stuff instead of like breaking it out in the midst and you're like, oh, I have never seen something like that or know how to use it. Shopping together, you're like, oh, cool. Well, do you think, how about would you be like, like talk about it together. Also, who doesn't love a good shopping trip with their partner? Okay, well, there's probably some people who don't like shopping with others, and that is fair. But if it's for something that y'all are going to share together and have pleasurable experiences with, why not do it together? You know what I'm saying? The last tip I'm going to offer, after you've had the conversation, after you picked out the toy, schedule when you're going to use it. Don't just think that you have to run home, rip into the box, because one, you need to clean it, two, you need to charge it. There's a whole lot of levels. But like schedule when. Be like, okay, cool. Well, I think that, Thursday night would be a great night for us to like test it out together. Like you don't have work on Friday. I don't have work on Friday. Like you have a light day at work, so you'll already be in a relaxed state. Like schedule the time to do the first introduction. Like would you rush into like meeting somebody's parents? Maybe, but it would be nice if you could plan for these things. So plan for it. Plan for that new BFF, that new ride or die, that new homie showing up and add into the party. Just schedule it. Also, scheduling sex can be really fun and erotic because you have something to look forward to. You can build up throughout the day, send cute little pictures and text messages back and forth to each other. Scheduling is not a bad thing, so maybe give it a whirl. But just remember, toys are friends, not foe. Just be communicative and start with the basics and work your way up and have fun. Enjoy it. And yeah, sex toys in your relationship are great. Do not feel intimidated by them. Do not worry. All it takes is a good conversation and stuff's about to go down. But yeah, if you have questions about introducing sex toys to your relationship, as always, drop them in the comments, shoot me an email, whatever you want to do. I'm always here to answer them and always happy to answer them. But as per usual, make sure you have subscribed to my YouTube channel. You're following me on Instagram. You're following me on Twitter. You're following me everywhere possible. And subscribe to my email list because you love me and you want to see the Millennial Sexperts succeed. But also because you want to be in the know about what's going on when it comes to sex ed content. And come back next week because guess what? All new episode. And yeah, I'm going to see y'all later. Deuces.